Do you want to reverse the aging process? Everybody tends to be intrigued and interested in the anti-aging process. At the core of the anti-aging process, it's one word and one word only: hormones. Hormones are such a popular topic of discussion nowadays, predominantly with hormone replacement therapy. It's such a gray area. How do I say this? People are prescribing these hormones like candy without closely monitoring, which could become a very problematic thing. Then you have a lot of people going to doctors, getting these hormones, and really abusing the dosages as well, and or even getting them black market. I have a client right now who has a friend who's 50 years old who's getting them from his trainer, which that trainer should never be able to train anybody ever again. And I know that goes on a lot. And this 50-year-old guy is in bad shape right now. Let's just leave it at that. So when we're talking hormones, if you start introducing them into the body at a younger age, the probability of you running into long-term problems just gets greater and greater and greater. Now again, if you're looking at somebody in their late 40s into their 50s and so on, then that becomes a little bit more of a logical discussion. But don't get it twisted. I'll be 46 in July. I just had my hormones checked and they are at optimal levels, probably through all the biohacking mechanisms that I do every day of fasting, resistance training, the ice baths, all scientific data proving what those do to your hormones and how they keep them at very high levels. So for me, if I was to even start taking minimal dosage, it would actually start hindering my own body's natural production. It's like a lot of you men out there, we know this, I've had plenty of friends over the years that have abused stuff like this, and what's the most common thing you hear? Their testicles shrink. And then when they come off, typically the testicles come back, right? But the reason why that's happening is your testes don't need to produce because the testosterone is coming in from other avenues, whether it's a cream or an injection. So now, the problem with that, as we age, that production starts slowing down anyway, naturally. But if you're at a place like, say, where I am, why would I want to introduce that when all pistons are firing, right? So we really have to ask ourselves that question. And we have to be clear with when we're doing this type of a therapy. And again, when we're talking anti-aging, muscle building, fat burning, happiness, sex drive, skin elasticity, sleep, all of that falls into the category and discussion of hormones. And as a functional diagnostic nutritionist, the core of that work is hormone health. And when we're talking hormone health, we have to also look at how do we reduce stressors in our life? Because when there's stressors in our life, whether external or internal through the things that we're eating or taking, it actually creates this mechanism where your body's producing a lot of cortisol, which is a hormone, but then it depreciates and robs all of the other major hormones. And I can go into that in more detail in another video. But I just wanted to say, we have to tread carefully when we look at this stuff. We have to make logical decisions. And if you're going to do it, please, I beg you, work with a very responsible doctor, someone who's going to check your blood pretty frequently. It becomes very problematic and dangerous when you start taking hormones for aesthetic purposes, muscle building purposes. It's one thing for medicinal purposes, but everyone that I know tends to start taking it more for muscle building purposes. And there's just so many other mechanisms like the ones that I teach you all that can actually help boost your body's hormones naturally on its own. So do your homework, do your research, but if you're looking for long-term goals, long-term results that are gonna stay with you for the rest of your life, it's one word: discipline.